Welcome everyone to the webinar on ShopLore Connect for Teamcenter DNC. This webinar is specifically about managing data for the machine shop. Before we get started, let's go over a few user interface training for the people who aren't familiar with this tool. The first thing we want to talk about is the usage of the left-hand side. There is a box for Q&A. If you have any questions, whether audio or video or just in general, please put that information in the question box. There is additional information in the bottom left-hand corner, which is a couple URL links. If you do have any troubleshooting beyond that and need some further FAQ of standard issues that might come up, there's a question mark on the user interface at the bottom. The upper right-hand side, just like any other Windows user interface window, maximize the window or minimize, and you can even resize by grabbing the bottom right corner of the window. And then each window can be minimized into the bottom icon bar, just like in regular Windows by hitting the smaller minus bar. There'll be a survey at the end. Or actually you can do that at any time. The survey is accessible at the bottom user interface there, as you see by the right-hand icon. So to begin the presentation, my name is Rich Nobliski. I work in channel marketing here at Siemens. And I'd like to hand this over to the presenter, Mr. Chris Draska. He is the Director of Operations for HiLowSoft, and he is going to introduce you to the world of DNC. Chris?
Thanks, Rich. Hello, everyone. Like Rich mentioned, my name is Chris Draska. I work for HiLowSoft. HiLowSoft is a global system integrator and a big partner of Siemens. We focus and specialize on shop floor solutions. We are the certified system integrator of ShopLore Connect, which we're here to discuss and present today. I work out of our Chicago offices in the U.S., but we are a global company with headquarters in Italy, and we do have deployment capabilities both regionally and globally. Our main focus falls underneath four main pillars. One is manufacturing execution systems, product lifecycle management systems, quality control and SPC solutions, supply chain management, detailed planning, and production scheduling. All these systems relate to helping our clients and customers be more productive during the manufacturing process. In the U.S., we're around 30 consultants, and globally we're over 200. The first step before we get started on today's topic of ShopLore Connect, I want to take a quick poll here and get some information on our participants' DNC solutions. So what is your current DNC solution? A, you have a standard product. B, you have some type of homegrown or custom solution. C, you're using SneakerNet, which basically means operators are walking around with thumb drives or floppy disks in their back pocket and transferring files. Or D, you're not sure.
Hey, Chris, maybe before you go to the next slide, can you give like a quick few-sentence overview on specifically what DNC is?
Yeah, I guess for those of you that don't know, DNC is a distributed network control system that allows you to network your CNC machines to a centralized repository, so that instead of doing the SneakerNet way of having people walk around with thumb drives and saving things on the controller itself, you're relying on a centralized repository to manage all your DNC data, which ensures compliance and running the correct part at the right time.
Okay, thanks.
Looking at the poll results here, close to half have a standard product and close to half aren't sure, and some might have some custom solutions. I guess no one today is really leveraging on thumb drives or what we call SneakerNet, so that's obviously good. But there's obviously always ways to improve that, having an integrated solution to your engineering environment, which is the purpose of ShopLore Connect. So typically, if you look at this slide here, we're at like a 30,000-foot view of a manufacturing company. And at a high level, we have different business units. You have product design, manufacturing, engineering, and the shop floor and production. And most of the times when HiLowSoft goes on site and starts engaging with our customers, we identified that a lot of these groups are not connected or streamlined through a clear path of communication, which leaves obviously concern and questions because information floating around can get lost easily in translation. Therefore, the manufacturing people might be working with, or the shop floor people might be working with inaccurate or outdated information and not the current releases coming from product design or product manufacturing engineering. Teamcenter, which is a PLM solution, is meant to streamline that process and create one central repository of information from engineering, design, all the way through manufacturing. And leveraging on that concept, ShopLore Connect is hoping to extend that coverage to the shop floor. So when we're working with our clients again, we find out that if they have a DNC solution, it's really not communicating with their PLM system. Therefore, even when updates are being made or done on the engineering side, that information may or may not be pushing down to the shop floor, which obviously can cause problems during the production process. There's no clear integration between the two different systems, or there's no system at all in place. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that when the engineers are releasing information or making last-second changes, that's reflecting down to the shop floor operators to go along with the production process. ShopLore Connect does exactly that, extends the coverage of Teamcenter to the operators on the shop floor. It's not a separate DNC database or separate system. It's just an add-on module of Teamcenter to allow for a fully integrated solution to the shop floor. It's going to allow operators to have the access to the same data that the engineers are putting together and managing in the PLM solution Teamcenter. Here we're going to take another poll and find out some more information about your DNC needs for those of you that have visibility on that. Regardless of your DNC solution, how well are you managing your NC program revisions? A, 100% are managed. B, 50% are managed. Z, 0 are managed, so there's no revision control. Or D, you're not sure. Looking at the results here, we're split evenly. 50% say that they are managing things half the time, while others probably don't know. Well, if you don't know, I'm probably going to assume that it's not happening. So one of the key benefits of ShopLore Connect is the ability to manage those revisions. Not only are we can do the communication to the NC machines to push data from Teamcenter to the shop floor. So when an engineer creates a revision, and the revision is released for production, that information is accessible to the shop floor operators, and only that information that actually has been released for production. So anything pending or in process approval is not going to be allowed to be downloaded to the shop floor. But ShopLore Connect also allows for bilateral communication, so information from the shop floor can be pushed back into Teamcenter. So with this functionality, assuming that an operator or shop floor manager has the rights permissions, if a user decides to make a change to a NC program at the controller, because perhaps him or her can understand the G code and him or her has worked with that machine and wants to make some improvements, they can do so, and that information can then be forwarded back to Teamcenter. With this way, that when the information is forwarded to Teamcenter, further approval processes can be launched via the Teamcenter workflows, so that it can go across different CAM engineer or engineering managers' desks, and even be available next time for the operator that's going to be manufacturing that part in the future. A lot of times our clients today, if there's a change in the shop floor, they'll leave that change on the controller itself. So then the next guy or girl that comes to that controller and pulls up that part file, there could be 5 or 6 revisions of it. They're not going to be sure which one to use, or they're not even going to know that there's a more recent updated version, and they're just going to cut the part with the same part file that they've been using the last 2 or 3 production runs. So again, we're trying to eliminate the potential of running the wrong information and then obviously producing scrap material, scrap parts. Besides just being a DNC solution to have the communication to the CNC controller for the G-code files, ShopLore Connect also provides some electronic work instruction capabilities for the operator. So any type of data that's associated to machining operation inside Teamcenter, whether they're setup sheets, shop documents, SOPs, simulation movies, images or pictures of tool fixtures, 2D drawings, 3D drawings, any information that the engineer might think is beneficial to help assist an operator in his or her production process can be associated to that specific machining operation inside Teamcenter, and such documentation will then be available to an operator via the ShopLore Connect web browser user interface. Extending the coverage even further, ShopLore Connect has the capability to communicate with other ShopLore devices such as tool presetters, so information can be downloaded and uploaded to and from tool presetters and then forwarded on to a NC machine for that specific manufacturing operation. As well as Teamcenter can be leveraged for other devices such as CMM machines. So quality data can be managed inside Teamcenter, and CMM instructions can be forwarded and sent down to the CMM machine, as well as the quality results can be exported and saved back into Teamcenter. Now I'm going to pass this over to Brian. Brian Sobel is one of our technical leads for ShopLore Connect within HiLowSoft, and he's going to be sharing a demo with everyone today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brian Sobel. Like Chris said, I'm a consultant here at HiLowSoft. I specialize in machining and machine shop management. I'm going to just take us through some of a hands-on demonstration of Teamcenter and ShopLore Connect. So like Chris said in the slides, everything starts with the engineering data. That's really our source data, and it's the part we're trying to make. So this should look pretty familiar to anybody that's used Teamcenter before. This is my CAD data or engineering data managed here in Teamcenter. And if I drill down a little bit, I have some stuff that will be familiar to Teamcenter users. I have my CAD model stored here in Teamcenter. I have a JT, which of course is the lightweight viewer for viewing CAD data across different CAD systems and formats. And then I have an engineering drawing that's managed here under my CAD or design item. So a lot of us are used to managing engineering data in Teamcenter, and this is the part we want to produce. And the question now is, how do we make this part? And Teamcenter gives us the tools to manage the manufacturing data alongside with the engineering data, and in fact link to the engineering data. And that's what I'm going to show you now. So here I have an item in Teamcenter, and we see here that the item is of type MENC machining. So this item type is just an item that Teamcenter provides to manage NC operations, cutting operations. So that's the item that I've created here in Teamcenter. And we see that its name, or its item ID, is 7777. So what is this number? And the answer is it's whatever it makes sense for the number to be. So this number could be an operation number. It could be a process plan number. Maybe it makes more sense for the ID to be the ID of the CAD model followed by a prefix or a suffix. So Teamcenter really gives us the freedom to organize and name data in a way that makes sense for the plant and for the company. So with all that said, I'm going to open up my item, and we can see a whole bunch of data that I've associated to this manufacturing item. And this is all the data that a CAM engineer or an NC programmer or industrial engineer might make in the course of their work. So for example, we have a tooling list. We also have a link to the CAD data or the CAD model in UG. We have a movie. It's a simulation movie generated in NX of tool cutting paths. We can also manage a picture, the way that the setup should look, so that an operator can pull this up on the shop floor and see what the setup should look like. We can also manage shop documents, like for example PDF or Microsoft Word documents, talking about the appropriate machining setup. And then here we have a link back to the CAD or the parent item. So what this does is enforce some of the revision control that Chris was talking about in his presentation. We're linking the two together. So for example, if this CAD revision B gets revised to revision C, this manufacturing item is going to know about it. And that's the way you want it, since the manufacturing data depends on the engineering data. And then another interesting thing we have here is we have some equipment. This represents a CNC machine called CTX, and it's here in the BOM view of the manufacturing data. this is actually the machine that the operation is going to run at, and that means that the NC program was posted out for this particular CTX machine, and we want to make sure that the DNC system can only download to this NC program, the NC program to this machine and no other machines, and we're going to see that later in this presentation. And then, of course, we have a few NC programs here. We have an approved NC program that's ready to be run on the shop floor, and we have an edited NC program, and we'll see what that looks like later in Team Center. So with all that said, we've opened up Team Center. We've seen how we store manufacturing data, and we link it to its parent CAD data. Now let's open up ShopLore Connect and see what that looks like. So ShopLore Connect is purely a browser-based solution, meaning that there's no software to install on the shop floor. There's just a URL that we navigate to. And when we, at the login screen, we log into ShopLore Connect using our Team Center login. So what that means is that any sort of organization or access control that you do in Team Center, that gets all used in ShopLore Connect. So I'm going to log in with my Team Center user. And here I'm prompted to choose what machine I'm working at. Now, one cool thing about ShopLore Connect is that you can assign the available machines in this list to a particular user or to a particular computer on the shop floor. So let's say a certain shop floor PC is located in the middle of a work cell with 3 machines. We can make that so that users of that machine only see the 3 machines in that work cell. Or similarly, we can make it so that operators have permissions to only see certain machines, while a shop floor supervisor might be able to see all machines and have those available to them. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that CTX location that we saw in Team Center earlier. And here's the main screen for ShopLore Connect. At the top, we have some information about the current session, so I can see my Team Center login and my group and role. I can also see the location, the CNC equipment that I'm working at. And this right here is the entirety of the interface. As you can see, it's pretty simple for operators to learn and to use. There's big buttons, so it's pretty simple and a pretty small learning curve to use the DNC system. So I'm going to start by downloading some data from Team Center. Now, this search field is fully configurable based on the needs of the organization. So, for example, let's say operators are used to a drawing number, and that's the important number for them. Then we would populate this field to say drawing number, and operators would search by that number. Now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and enter that 777 item that we saw in Team Center, which might correspond to like a process plan number or an operation number. I'll search for that data. And ShopLore Connect is actually accessing Team Center and returning me that data. So here at the top, again, we can see the current CAM item we're working with, and we can also see the parent or engineering item that was linked to that manufacturing item. And on the left here, we see a bunch of buttons that are populated according to what data is available for that manufacturing item. So in Team Center, we saw all these different data set types, and so all these the correct buttons appear for the operator. And now, as a user, I can open up each of these pieces of information that were stored in Team Center. So, for example, here I have a view of what the CNC machining setup should look like. I could open up a tool list that will document all the tools used in the operation. I could open up shop documentation like a PDF, which might contain tooling information and setup information. I could even open up that lightweight JT model that we were talking about in Team Center. Here I could open up that cutting simulation movie. So an operator could open up this movie and understand exactly what the purpose of the NC program is and exactly what sort of cutting it's supposed to do. And here's that technical drawing that we saw. I want to note that this drawing wasn't actually associated to the manufacturing item. It was associated to the engineering item. But because of that link we established between manufacturing and engineering, that data is also made available to the manufacturing data as well. And then finally, we can click this NC Program button. And we can see here I have 2 available programs corresponding to the 2 programs that we saw in Team Center. So I can click this magnifying glass, and I can view the data as an operator and inspect the contents of the NC program. And then, of course, one of the most important pieces of DNC, actually sending programs to a machine tool. Obviously, I don't have a CNC machine here to work with, but what I have here is just a file folder, which is reminiscent of like a file-based CNC machine with an Ethernet connection, for example. And when I click this Start Transfer button, then ShopLore Connect will actually fetch that NC program and send it to the machine tool. So with all that, we've demonstrated the ability to search Team Center for manufacturing data and perform DNC. Now, what about if we want to do an upload of an NC program? So as an operator, maybe I go onto the machine tool and I do a shop floor edit. Maybe I see some opportunity to improve the NC program. So I could hit save. Oops. Just for clarity, I'm going to save it as a different name, like maybe program edited. So now I have 2 programs here on my CNC machine. Now back in my main user interface, I can click Upload Data, and it asks me to select what type of file I want to upload. Now in this example, I can only upload NC program data, but if you wanted to, for example, manage tooling data, you could retrieve tooling information data from Team Center and then have a tool presetter measure the tooling actual data and upload that actual tool data back to Team Center. But in this example, I'm going to select NC Program, and here ShopLore Connect is looking on my CNC machine drive, and it sees the 2 NC programs that we are working with. I'm going to select the edited version and hit Upload. And here's where I tell ShopLore Connect how to store the data back in Team Center. So again, the way that we do this depends on the manufacturing policies of the company. In this case, I'm going to upload it to the same revision, that same working revision A. For a dataset name, I could say edit 01, for example, and a description. I could, as a machinist, I could leave a description of what my edited program is doing. So, for example, adjusted feeds and speeds. And then when I hit submit, ShopLore Connect is going to take that edited file and send it back to Team Center in the correct place. So I've switched back into Team Center just to see what that looks like. And when I refresh the page, I see here I have another edited NC program. And another thing I want to point out is the release status here. I'm in kind of an unapproved status, which means an NC programmer needs to look at this program and approve the changes before it's available to the shop floor. And just to demonstrate that principle, I'm going to switch back into ShopLore Connect. I'm going to repeat the search for the same item. And here's my data. And here's that brand new NC program. I can see my change reflected here. And we can see here that the status is in that check status or unapproved status. And so I don't have the option to send the program to the machine tool until the program has been verified and approved by a CAM engineer or an NC programmer. So with that, we've seen the full loop managing manufacturing data alongside the engineering data, and in fact linked to the engineering data. And then we've seen how ShopLore Connect makes that data available to the shop floor for viewing documents and sending NC programs to machine tools. So with that, I'm going to jump back into the presentation and turn things over to Chris again.
Give us a second here while the webinar presentation is catching up here, and I'll be following up with some continued slides. Brian, thanks for the presentation. Obviously, I think the users can see that ShopLore Connect is a simple, easy-to-use DNC solution that allows to extend the coverage of Teamcenter and creating more functionality provided. Now, because ShopLore Connect is web-based, that means it can run on tablets and smartphones as well as not just terminals or HMIs. There are a few customers that HiLowSoft's working with, one in particular, who's basically 100% leveraging iPads today on their shop floor. So they've removed any type of terminals or PCs and taken advantage of newer technology. Now, ShopLore Connect has the capability to connect to many different NC machines on the market today. Older DNC solutions that HiLowSoft comes across require centralized computers or terminals to be networked directly to, not even networked, but just connected directly to CNC machines within a work center via RS-232 cables. ShopLore Connect can connect to older machines via RS-232, but when we do so with ShopLore Connect, we are actually putting that machine on a network. So leveraging on some hardware provided with the solution, ShopLore Connect can network your older CNC machines from RS-232 to your shop floor network, eliminating the need to have workstations connected to groups of CNC machines. Newer machines can be connected straight through a Cat5 Ethernet cable, and HiLowSoft takes care of both of those as part of a configuration project. If you look at a high-level view of a deployment architecture at a site, what we're seeing here is we have a site local network, whether that's a LAN or just a shop floor network. We have Teamcenter, which is basically the database, the repository for ShopLore Connect, and then ShopLore Connect itself is a web client. So the web application can be loaded on the same server as Teamcenter, or it can be loaded on another server. In either case, it's very lightweight and doesn't take much overhead. Then all your different devices, whether they're going to be your CNC machines connected directly over the Ethernet or connecting to these COM servers for RS-232 communication, tool presetters, and other shop floor computers and terminals are all going to be networked and accessible to ShopLore Connect via the web application. For customers that have global deployments and are interested to know how they can connect to one central repository, this view demonstrates that capabilities. So a lot of our larger customers have the need to have a data center that is going to manage all manufacturing and engineering data across countries, states, for them. Now, the big question they have is, well, what if Teamcenter goes down? What if Teamcenter might be pulled down for maintenance purposes, or perhaps network connectivity drops? So no longer is a plant able to communicate with Teamcenter. It's not going to be able to therefore produce a part. Well, Siemens has a solution for that, which we call ShopLore Connect Failover. ShopLore Connect Failover allows a plant to even run and produce parts when the connection to Teamcenter isn't available. The case for this is that each site will have an installation of ShopLore Connect, the web client, which will be connected over a network to the data center. And any previously downloaded jobs or approved jobs or operations that are released for production in Teamcenter are going to automatically be captured by ShopLore Connect. ShopLore Connect will have a service running in the background that is basically always ping or looking at the Team Center database for new files and new versions. So in that case, when a new file or version becomes available, ShopLore Connect will cache that information inside or at the site on the local server. And when Team Center goes down, ShopLore Connect will be able to switch to what we call local mode, and instead of an operator querying for a part file inside the Team Center database, ShopLore Connect would reroute the request to the local cache application and therefore keep the manufacturing plant up and running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. With that said, we've given you the full overview of ShopLore Connect, leading to greater transparency during the production process, better revision control of your manufacturing data, being in line with your engineering data. It helps for compliance and security reasons. So with ShopLore Connect, we can allow managers to fully track every upload and download for each user on the shop floor, which is critical in certain industries, and it's a closed-loop solution. So you don't have to build any type of custom integration to other DNC systems or other DNC databases and worry about reconciliation. ShopLore Connect leverages a Team Center database. They're one and the same, and the user interface is a simple, lightweight web browser application. At this point, I think we're going to open up the floor to questions for the attendants today in our webinar.
Yep, good job, Chris. I do have a couple questions, and for those of you who still have some questions further on, there is the Q&A box, and also don't forget the survey in the bottom right. But to get things going, let's talk about the first couple we have. So, Chris, does ShopLore Connect support all types of CNC machines and controllers?
That's a good question. As mentioned before, that is correct. As long as the CNC machines support either an RS-232 connection or a Ethernet connection, we can connect. One of the biggest problems that we come across with our customers is they are having trouble communicating specifically with, say, a Mazak machine. Some machines require certain protocols. For Mazak, it's the Mazatrol protocol. This can be quite difficult for other DNC solutions to communicate with. So oftentimes we might find 30 machines connected and then 5 not because of this Mazak issue. And our system, we can come in there and we can support the other protocols that some of the different CNC vendors require for DNC communication.
Excellent. I have another question. Can ShopLore Connect support legacy data from a current DNC system?
Another good question. So with any project that HiLowSoft's involved with, there is mostly the need, unless it's obviously a brand new facility, to import information from a previous system. With that said, as part of a project, we work with our customers to define the best approach for the legacy data migration. The first is obviously understanding how the information is managed today, whether it's a current DNC system in a database or perhaps it's just a network of file folders. We have to identify a common structure or naming convention for how the data is being managed today, and then we put in forth a plan to import it into ShopLore Connect. And again, a lot of that depends on the requirements of our customer, and we work with them to define the operational structures in Team Center of how that data is going to be stored and managed. Because Team Center is very flexible, there is different ways to do it. HiLowSoft does have some best practices that we always push forth on our customers, but in the end, obviously, it's going to be their decision, and we'll work with them to support the clearest migration path for legacy data.
Okay, excellent. Thanks. Another question here. Do you have an NC editor for correction of uploaded files like renumbering and so on?
So ShopLore Connect doesn't come with an NC editor, but one of the advantages of Team Center is that you get to specify exactly what tool you want to open certain data with. So, for example, you could specify opening NC programs, the same NC programs that we were working with in Team Center. You could configure Team Center to launch your favorite NC editor and open the program with that editor as opposed to Notepad or Notepad++ or something like that.
Okay, excellent. So currently, there are no other further questions. Thank you, HiLowSoft. Thank you, Chris and Brian, for your presentations. Excellent job. And don't forget there is the survey in the bottom right-hand corner. And if anyone has any further questions, you can reach out to HiLowSoft at the email below or Siemens. And thank you very much.
Thank you.